can use our strength, use our power. I tell my kids all the time that they are superheroes. All the time. All the time. I tell them all the time. And I specifically use spiritual gifts to tell them that's their superpowers. I tell them all the time, I say, oh, you know that if your sister is hurt, you could pray for them. Like you could say these words and then they'd be healed instantly. So guess what? They do it all the time. Like I remember just yesterday, my youngest daughter, she's 5. She said she fell from the bed and she said, I didn't hurt myself because I prayed for my arm and it was just better. So you see, like it's stuck in her. She know it. She knows that she's a superhero. She already know it. That's how you build up the kingdom. That's how you build spiritual gifts in each other. And the thing is, it's like, and I learned this from my mentor, is the more that we're showing them the benefits that they have inside them, the more they begin to act that out. But if you're always telling somebody that they're terrible or you only see the problems or the things they're struggling with, then guess what? They would keep continuing to struggle with that. I mean, my mentor, he used this example. He said, if somebody asks you, hey, let's just go play in the mud, and you had your all white clothes on, what was the first thing you would say? Like, oh, no, I can't do that for real, because I got my new clothes on. For real, I just bought this outfit, and I can't go do that. But then he said, if you had play clothes on, and they said, let's go do that, guess what? You'll say, oh, yeah, let's go. I got play clothes. My clothes are already dirty. Let's go do that. So the more we tell people how dirty they are, the more dirty they'll get. That's the problem. The more you just say, oh, you already dirty. Let's go. You're already. But the more we tell people how clean they are, the more we tell them how special they are, the more we tell them what they have inside them, the more they begin to start acting that out. And now look, my kids is already thinking that. They know now if somebody's hurt, they go pray for them. It's stuck in them. But guess what? It wasn't. I had to tell them that this is a normal thing. So sometimes we got used to the normal is more like worldly. And sometimes we've been thinking worldly is just like, for real, some of the stuff we think is worldly is not worldly, but we get used to the world by just like not teaching people to be more spiritual. I know, I'm sorry. I was trying to filter that, but it was hard to filter that. Sometimes I'll be trying to watch what I say. I'm trying to think about it to where it's not that religious. But what I'm saying is it's like there's a group that if they saw me how I'm dressed like this, they'll say, oh my gosh, he is a man of God. You know, they just automatically like, oh, he grabbed the mic. He is about to preach. I already know. He's good, you know. And instead of just looking at it, it's like, this don't have anything to do with spirituality. And so that's the same thing. If somebody came in here with cut up jeans or they came here with an outfit that you wouldn't approve of, that doesn't make it worldly, okay? But one thing I'm starting to see is that if we are not helping our kids to see how spiritual they are or not seeing how powerful they are, then that's more of like worldly. That's more being conformed to this world. Being more conformed to this world is saying is, hey, yeah, you know what? We heard that operating spiritual gifts is not a possible thing. So you know what? We just going to keep that hidden. Oh, your kids can see the future? Oh, no, we can't. No, that's crazy. We can't do that, you know? Like, I remember just recently, my daughter, she, and I brought it up. If people that was here Sunday, I brought it up about how my daughter, you remember she was a storm and she came to my bedroom, right? But one thing I didn't share with you on Sunday is that earlier that day, we was at that Dollar General right there, and she gets out the truck. As soon as she get out, she said, "Daddy, it's about the storm." And I'm looking, and I was just like, there's nothing out here that shows a sign of a storm. Nothing. So I'm looking around just like, nah, I don't think it's going to be a storm today. And guess what happened? The storm happened that night. So you see that? My daughter can see the future. So it's up to me to say, hey, you know what? Let's work on that. Let's practice on that. That is something that God wants you to use that is considered a spiritual gift that will build the kingdom. But if somebody first come to her and say, no, you know what, that's craziness, you can't do that, that's not possible, guess what? That gift would be dormant. And that's what happened to some of us. It's not like we don't have the power or we have the ability, but somebody else spoke something else negative in our life, and we say, you're right, you know what, that do make more sense. And that's the reason. I was just talking to Ari before service started, and I told him, I said, it took me until like 23, 24 for me to realize that God actually speaks to me. But God been speaking to me for years. It was just a lot of people that was around me. I remember I used to go to a place where they used to say, hey, your word better be for God. It better be from God. Like, don't say nothing unless it's from God. And they don't know what they was doing. All they was doing was scaring me for me to think that God don't even speak to me. Because every time I heard something, I was just like, nope, that ain't God. You know what? They just said it better be from God, so I'm probably just going to keep my mouth shut. So the thing is, the reason why we was talking about that is because Valerie, she's 15 years old, and she told her mom, she said, hey, do not let Michael leave. I got to give him a word. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I love words. I need words. See, one thing I learned is that words save your life. Words will save your life. If somebody spoke into your life and told you that, hey, next month, this will be happening for you, guess what? You already living until next month. Because they already spoke, you will be here. So it's like, imagine if no one was giving words to anyone. Imagine if we were just saying, it's like, hey, situations and circumstances is happening in people's life, we're just going to keep it like that. Then no life would change. But when we realized that we got power in our tongue, then we would begin to start speaking differently in people's lives. So she came to me and gave me this word, and I'm for real, no lie, I started crying. I'm just like, this word was so powerful. She was speaking right into my life. 15 years old. The first thing I asked her when she was finished, I asked, like, how old are you? She said, 15. And I was just like, gracious God, you are moving in this place. But one thing that I love, and I tell Pastor Mark this all the time, is that he opens the door for that. And that's what I did for my daughter. I opened the door for them. You know what I do? I do this often, is we'll sit down with all my daughters and we'll grab a piece of paper and we'll draw on it and we'll say, this is what we're drawing is what we want to see this week or what we want to see this month. And then the thing is we'll go back to it and then see if it happened. Like, this is God, guys. Like, this is the godly way. This is the way that we can see our kids become spiritual leaders. It's just sometimes I feel like we just think if we just bring them at church, they just going to get it. Like, no. No, what we need to do is, and that's what happened to me. I was a pastor's son going to service all the time. And remember, I told you, it took me a long time to realize that God was speaking to me. Remember, we're talking about the slave on the horse and the prince on the ground. Everyone that's on live, for real, if you have questions, just message us. We want to answer your questions. And you all too, for real. This is not me just speaking to you. For real, raise your hand and let's talk, okay? So, like, I think Dr. Kahozi's plan was to build you up, to know how powerful you are, for you to not live under your means, for you to to know that you're a child of the King. You know, a child of the King doesn't worry about anything. But now we have to reprogram our mind to know that we're a child of the King. Because when we look at the news and see a real prince of, the prince of England, we believe that. But we don't look at ourselves and say, oh man, I'm a prince. I am a daughter. I am a princess of the King. And I say this often, whatever a child asks for in the kingdom, they will make sure that they have it. And now I get why Jesus said is that if you believe and don't doubt, nothing will be impossible for you. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that in my life. But the only way that we can see that in our life is by what? Believing. So we do have to get rid of doubt. And that's something that's not easy. It's not easy to just get rid of doubt. We've been living through it our whole lives. For real. The first thing we learned is, no. We've learned that word first. We hear that word, no, all the times. We hear, I can't all the time. Even I just start, stopping myself. Even when I know I can't, I try to say something else. Because you can get used to it and it becomes your motto through your whole life. You didn't even realize it. And so even the things that you can do, you never even tried because you're so used to saying, I can't. For real, don't be like me how I am with food, okay? Because me, I'm picky and I don't eat really anything. Don't be like me. Be adventurous, okay?